In the top stories, fisheries sector sees record-breaking revenue for 2024. World Bank approves $192 million to boost Jamaica's economy and disaster readiness. And political tensions escalate in Serbia's parliament amid violent clash. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Today is Wednesday, March 5th, 2025. I'm your presenter, Shanique Harvey. Nationally, the fisheries sector in St. Kitts and Nevis achieved a historic milestone, generating a record-breaking $119.6 million EC in revenue, a significant increase from the $15.5 million EC recorded the previous year. This marks the highest figure on record within the last 10 years. This remarkable growth underscores the resilience and dedication of the nation's fisherfolk, as well as the government's strategic efforts to support and expand the industry. In a notable development, the remarkable growth stems particularly from the reef and demersal fishery, which played a major role in driving overall industry expansion. Total catch increased from £1.2 million in 2023 to £1.6 million in 2024, representing a 35.4% rise. Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Marine Resources Honorable Samuel Duggins hailed this achievement as a testament to the nation's commitment to economic development through sustainable fisheries. He emphasized that the success was not incidental, but rather the result of strategic governance and visionary leadership. The government's role in fostering this growth has been pivotal, with investments in modernizing fisheries infrastructure, improving access to financial and technical resources, capacity building, and implementing policies to promote sustainable fishing practices. Deputy Prime Minister, the Honorable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, believes the upgrades in equipment made at government quarries will help in the Federation's goal of becoming a sustainable island nation. Dr. Hanley, who was present for the commissioning of the new equipment, says with several national projects coming on stream, having a fully operational quarry is key to our nation becoming fully self-reliant.
You would recognize that there are a number of projects or capital projects that we would have been talking about that would lead us towards our sustainable island state agenda, and this piece of equipment and this enhancement at the quarry will definitely push us in that direction, because it is assisting in roads, it is assisting also in the smart homes, in regular person's homes, so it is position to take us towards the sustainable island state.
The Deputy Prime Minister added that the quarry upgrades are not the last for the Division of Infrastructure.
The investment was a very costly one, but it was one that the government saw the need for, and you can look forward to further enhancement not only at the quarry but also as the asphalt plant, because that wasn't functioning. Pieces of equipment were also purchased to bring it back up. So in a few weeks you're going to be seeing more roads being resurfaced, and we are on our way in terms of getting a brand new one as well.
3 new pieces of equipment were commissioned at the quarry, including a power screen crushing plant, a power screening plant, and rockback truck. Premier of Nevis and Leader of the Opposition in the National Assembly, the Honorable Mark Brantley, has commended Prime Minister Honorable Dr. Terence Drew and the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party government for their leadership and success in securing the necessary funding to advance geothermal energy in the Federation. During a recent interview on ZIZ's The Edge with host Devon Cornelius, Premier Brantley acknowledged that while geothermal development has been a decades-long pursuit, the efforts of Prime Minister Drew's administration have brought the project closer to reality.
So we were very pleased when the Saudi Fund for Development indicated that they would, in fact, be providing the additional funding. I think it's about $20 million US to allow us to take care of this phase of the project. So where we are now is actually, I think, very exciting, because for the first time in the long and tortured history of geothermal, we finally have the funding in place to deal with the drilling of the production wells, which is critical and usually one of the more risky parts of the project in terms of the financial risk.
Geothermal energy has been a national goal since 2004, but previous attempts failed largely due to financial barriers. Under Prime Minister Drew's leadership, the government successfully secured over $37 million US in funding, $17 million from the Caribbean Development Bank, and an additional $20 million from the Saudi Fund for Development, closing the funding gap and allowing for the critical drilling phase to commence. Premier Brantley emphasized the importance of this breakthrough, stating, quote, "Without the funding, we can continue to talk about geothermal for another decade," end quote. Brantley also praised the project's potential to transform the economy of St. Kitts and Nevis, making the nation a leader in green energy and reducing its reliance on tourism and citizenship by investment revenue.
Well, the word that I've been using is transformational, because I think that what geothermal energy can do for us is to wean us off our current dependence on tourism and, of course, citizenship by investment. Not to suggest that those two aspects of our economy will not continue to be important, but I feel that geothermal has the ability to transform our economies in a way and allow us to become energy-based economies, and in this case, green energy-based economies. I have said that we can become the Norway of the Caribbean, except that Norway would have made its money and its economy based on fossil fuels, and we intend to do so in terms of green energy. Now, why do I say that very quickly? I say that because the current demand at peak in St. Kitts and Nevis is just about 50 megawatts of power. The geothermal potential is well in excess of 400 megawatts of power based on all the evidence that we've had thus far. Some are in fact predicting it could be much higher than 400 megawatts. But even if we treated it at the minimum of 400 megawatts, since our peak capacity at this point, our peak demand, is at 50 megawatts, immediately you would realize that we have hundreds of megawatts of available power that we will need to find use for. That opens up the possibility of export of power via undersea cables to neighboring islands.
Brantley also acknowledged that thanks to Prime Minister Drew's administration, St. Kitts and Nevis is now positioned to transition towards a fully green and self-sustaining energy economy. We move now to news on the regional scene. The World Bank has approved a $192 million package to help Jamaica strengthen its economy and better prepare for natural disasters. The funding will support projects aimed at boosting private sector growth, streamlining trade, and improving disaster response systems. It also includes a special option that allows Jamaica to access emergency funds quickly in case of a disaster. Over the past decade, Jamaica has made significant strides in reducing its public debt to GDP ratio, reaching a record low of 73.3% by the end of the 2023-2024 fiscal year, the lowest in 25 years. However, the country continues to face challenges such as slow economic growth, a high rate of informal employment, and vulnerability to natural hazards. The new project is built on two main pillars. The first focuses on creating a more resilient private sector by improving trade facilitation, advancing digital technology adoption, and ensuring financial sector stability. And finally, in regional news, Emmeline Pierre has been formally appointed as the leader of the opposition in Grenada, succeeding Dr. Keith Mitchell. The historic appointment makes Pierre the first female to hold this position within the new National Party, or NNP. Pierre received her instrument of appointment from Governor General Cécile Lagernade in a brief ceremony on Tuesday. The leadership transition follows the resignation of Dr. Keith Mitchell, who officially stepped down as leader of the opposition and NNP leader on February 21st. Dr. Mitchell, Grenada's longest-serving prime minister with over 22 years in office, expressed full support for Pierre's leadership, praising her strength, empathy, and commitment to the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique. Internationally, 3 lawmakers were injured, including one seriously, during violent scenes in Serbia's parliament on Tuesday. The unrest erupted as opposition lawmakers protested a law to increase university funding, claiming the ruling majority was also trying to pass other illegal decisions, including confirming the resignation of Prime Minister Milos Vučević. The chaos began when opposition lawmakers blew whistles and unfurled a banner reading "Serbia has risen so the regime would fall." Clashes ensued with flares, smoke bombs, eggs, and water bottles thrown inside the assembly hall. Serbian media reported that lawmaker Jasmina Obradović was hospitalized after being injured. Government officials condemned the actions, with Defense Minister Bratislav Gašić calling the perpetrators a disgrace to Serbia. The incident reflects ongoing political turmoil in Serbia, fueled by months of anti-corruption protests following the deadly collapse of a train station canopy last November. Opposition parties demand the government's resignation and the formation of a transitional government to ensure free elections. President Donald Trump revealed on Tuesday that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky had expressed appreciation for U.S. support and confirmed Ukraine's readiness to negotiate peace with Russia. Zelensky also reaffirmed his willingness to sign critical minerals deal with the U.S. aimed at strengthening long-term support. Trump quoted Zelensky's letter, which emphasized Ukraine's desire for peace and its gratitude for U.S. assistance. However, Trump did not clarify if the letter would influence his recent decision to pause military aid to Ukraine. The announcement comes amid controversy over Vice President J.D. Vance's comments dismissing a proposed international peacekeeping force for post-war Ukraine. Vance argued that an economic pact such as the minerals deal would be a more effective security measure than deploying troops from other countries. The proposed minerals agreement, which could provide the U.S. access to vital resources in Ukraine, was initially expected to be signed during Zelensky's White House visit, but was cancelled following tensions between Trump, Vance, and Zelensky. The deal includes strategic minerals like titanium and lithium, essential for U.S. industries. And now for the weather. Present weather is cloudy skies with showers in the vicinity. Winds are a light breeze of 5 miles per hour from the northwest. Seas are 1.2 to 1.8 meters or 4 to 6 feet. The temperature for today is 27 degrees Celsius or 81 degrees Fahrenheit. The weather forecast for today predicts partly cloudy to cloudy skies with a 70% or high chance of showers. Tonight will be fair to partly cloudy skies in general, with a 40% or moderate chance of a brief passing overnight shower. Sunset for today will be at 6:19 p.m. and sunrise for tomorrow will be at 6:25 a.m. And that brings us to the end of the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more in detail. Thank you for tuning in. I'm your presenter, Shanique Carvey.